probably, I'd say, to be quite frank, the biggest things was definitely injuries. The last couple years have been tough just on my body physically. And so, yeah, those, it's just not fun when you're not playing due to injury, when you're going into the off season, having had surgery just barely. And so that was probably the number one thing. And then just, yeah, I just kind of felt that it's time, you know what I mean? I can't quite do the things that I used to do maybe 5, 10 years ago. You slow down a bit, and young bucks are coming through. And so, it's their turn now. And so those are the two biggest things that were kind of prompted me to the decision to hang it up. So
Yeah, well, and you had a two-sport professional career. You started
yeah,
with rugby, and then through college, Broncos crew calls you up to
yeah,
go and play American football. That took you to the NFL for a couple of years.
yeah,
Then you go back to rugby,
yeah,
went overseas with rugby as well,
yeah,
came back to MLR with the
yeah,
Warriors.
yeah,
So you've been able to kind of have sort of that dual sport experience, I
yeah.
guess. Could you have imagined when you had first, when you were coming out of Highland and you went to play rugby at BYU that you would have had the type of sporting career, not just rugby career, but sporting career that
Nah,
you've had over the last decade plus?
nah, definitely not. Growing up in New Zealand in high school, my senior year it was always rugby over there. I was in the Waikato setup. I want to play professional rugby in New Zealand, and then this little opportunity came over to come into America to Utah and play some rugby, and one thing just led to another, and so yeah, I couldn't have fathomed like playing in the NFL, doing it, couple seasons there, playing over in England, all of these experiences. That's the coolest thing is that sports taking me across the world, and so for me and my family, it's been awesome.
What are you going to remember the most about just your career in general?
Just the experiences, friendships that I've created on and off the field. Um, yeah, those are probably the two biggest things. Definitely the friendships that I've made playing with the brothers out on the field. Like I'm thinking, I don't know if there's many other professions where you have that camaraderie, you know what I mean? Where you go on a field or on a court and you sweat, blood, sweat, and tears, and you come off, you feel the highs and the lows of, what you do. You might feel that in other professions, but, not quite like on the rugby pitch. And so definitely that camaraderie with the brothers, and then, yeah, just the experiences that I've been able to have with my family, traveling in Europe and, World Cup, stuff like that, all of those definitely been the highlights.
When you came back to rugby, Warrior number one, that signing to help launch a new league, MLR, Utah Warriors, a new team, all of that. And then you went over to Europe with Harlequins and a couple of other teams, mostly Quins.
Yep.
And then you came back to MLR. And I remember when you came back, you said something around the time you came back where you said you still feel like you still felt, I should say, like you had something to prove
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you proved what you needed to prove by coming back over here after your stint on the Premiership?
Yeah. Yes, to a degree. Like I was saying, it's been tough with injury since I've been back. But in terms of what I have to offer, not necessarily on the field, but off the field as well, with the community and trying to grow the sport here in Utah, I've tried my best to do that. Going to high schools and doing little clinics and things like that. Those are some of the ways where I've felt satisfied and like, okay, I've been able to give back something to offer to the sport of rugby, especially here in Utah. So on the field, I mean, if we take care of business this season, 100%. You know what I mean? But yeah, those are a couple of the things where I felt like it's been satisfying to come back and contribute in that way.
Well, and that leads right into my next question, I think, which is that you've already got your next chapter lined up.
Yep.
You're officially, unofficially, as they say, going to be the head coach at Southern Virginia after this, out in Boa Vista. What was it about that job and that opportunity that excited you? And did that maybe make kind of the melancholy, I guess, of hanging up the boots maybe a little easier to know that there's still something to give to the game?
Yeah, nah, it definitely is. It's changed my perspective the last half of the season since I've been pursuing this opportunity out there in Buena Vista. So it's kind of given me some closure that I can enjoy the season. You know what I mean? I can go out and give it everything that I have, and be content and know that there's the next step is there for you. Live in the present for this step, in this chapter of your life, and then when the time comes, you can move on. And so, in that aspect, it's been awesome. Um, but yeah, no, just it came about from my old college coach. He started the program out there, and so he reached out and asked if I wanted to take over, and you know, at a D1 rugby school where they play the top schools out on the East Coast, a smaller school, and a school where we can bring players into the school. We can recruit, so to speak. Um, that's what excited me about the opportunity. So yeah, hopefully we can recruit a couple of boys to come up, and we can actually start competing with those top schools.
For sure, for
So
sure.
yeah,
Have you started to kind of look at what a Coachless CK run program is going to look at, or were there things that you kind of started sort of pre-planning, I guess, for your time at SVU, where you were like, oh, I didn't realize that a coach has to do this or
yeah.
that or the other?
Yeah, nah, there's been a ton. And I was like, man, I should be sitting. I'm a back, so I should be sitting in the forwards meeting. You know what I mean? So I can at least have an idea of what's going on in the forwards when I have questions from these young players. But yeah, it's I'm definitely gonna have to break down, know the game, like the nuances of the game better, so that when players have questions and whatnot, I'm actually able to answer them. But I feel like we're going to be, rugby is a fairly simple, there's not too many systems, so we're going to just run a 1-3-3-1 out there, similar to what we run here with the Warriors. And I believe they already run that system, but yeah, it's all just going to be bread and butter stuff, very simple style of play, and we just get good at that. So
For sure, for sure. Well, let's wrap this up and kind of bring it back around, I guess, a little bit full circle because you're retiring not only from professional rugby, but your final stint here is with the Utah Warriors.
yeah,
And just what has it meant to be able to represent Utah? A state that's giving you a decent amount
yep,
from moving over here in high school to your
yeah.
time at BYU, moving back here, all of that, and also to be able to kind of represent the Warriors. What does this franchise, this organization, kind of meant for you?
Nah, this franchise means a lot to me. And it's special that I get to finish up my career here. I sort of started my professional rugby career with Utah, and then yeah, like you said, I've come back, and so I'm just really grateful for the people that are in charge here. Kimball Care, who brought me back, he's taking care of me. All of the coaches and front office and things that have helped me get back and finish it how I want to finish it. And so yeah, I'm just full of gratitude, that I've been able to finish where I want to finish in a special place like Utah that's given me and my family a lot. And so hopefully, with us leaving, the new generation coming through, that I'll be on the sidelines cheering this squad on, forever. So I'll just become one of the fans. So yeah.